You made it through your first year of homeschooling. Congratulations. That is not an easy accomplishment. It takes a lot of grace for yourself, for your children, a lot of patience for yourself, for your children. And there is a lot of stretching, a lot of learning that you do in the process. But here's why you should not give up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it gets better and how you'll never regret the decision you made to homeschool your children. Hi there, friend. My name is Micah Klug, and I love helping mothers strengthen their home, faith, and family. A few years ago, my own family was led on this homeschooling journey. It was an idea thinking that would be fun, but it's definitely for superhero moms, right? It's for the moms that have everything put together, that look amazing, that have all these picture-perfect Brady Bunch kids that are kind and loving. And I always thought, I would love to do that, but I don't fit that mold, and I don't think I could do it. And I grew up in the public school system, and so when our oldest got ready to go to school, I thought, well, why not? Let's give it a try. So we sent her to school, and she loved her kindergarten teacher. She loved her first grade teacher. And then 2020 happened, and we were able to bring her home. She finished online learning, which I go into in another video. I'll link to it up top, and you can watch that and see what the experience was, how her reaction was to being on the computer 8 hours a day. I'll tell you a secret, spoiler alert, it wasn't the greatest. And I go into and explain why we decided to homeschool. And if you're interested, you can watch this video that talks about the pros and cons of homeschooling versus public school. But let's talk about why you should not give up after your first year of homeschooling. First, please know everyone doubts themselves. And I think we tend to be our own worst critics. I mean, honestly, we know our strengths. Sometimes we forget to acknowledge them. And we know our weaknesses perfectly. And yet those tend to be the things that we focus on the most. And when we're really hard on ourselves is when we're comparing someone else's strengths to our weakness. And that's something that we really need to stop doing. Where you're at in your journey is somewhere completely different than someone else's journey. The journey you're on is the journey that God called you to be on. He needs you right where you are, mothering the children that you do, teaching them, loving them, nurturing them. The journey is never easy. I mean, can you think of a hike that you went on that wasn't hard, that wasn't uphill, that wasn't worth the weight of the view and the work of the view when you got to the top? There are so many incredible hikes that once you get to the top, it is absolutely stunning. Homeschooling, motherhood, it's a lot like that hike. You're going to have valleys, you're going to have those hard climbs, you're going to have those peaks. But once you're able to look back and see how you were able to transform and how your children transformed, you'll never regret homeschooling your littles. It is worth it. Now, I'll share a little bit of a personal experience from our family life. I was raised in the public school system. And so in my mind, and even in my oldest daughter's, because she was also able to experience the public school system, there was a lot of unlearning and unschooling that I had to do for myself personally, and that I had to help my oldest daughter through as well. There is no law that says that you have to start homeschooling at 8 a.m. There is no law that says that you have to have half an hour for lunch. And there's no law that says that you have to stop homeschooling at 3 p.m. Your homeschooling journey and your homeschooling schedule is going to look so different than mine. And it's going to look different from your neighbors and from your friends and from the mom in the co-ops, because every family is different and every family learns different. Leave a comment and let me know if my family's homeschooling schedule is something that you would like to see, and I would love to go over that for you and share with you what we do at the times that we do them and why we do it that way. Because once you understand your child's strengths and a little bit of their weaknesses, you'll learn what method you need to teach your children and what works best for them, so that way you can both have a great experience. Once you realize that there is no need to meet anybody's expectations but your own, it is a freeing truth that you can just sit in and rest in. When you first homeschool your child, you're going to be testing all sorts of things. You're going to be buying probably quite a few workbooks and curriculums, trying to figure out what exactly your child loves and what you want to spend time on. Do you want to use the curriculums where you're planning your child's subjects? Or do you want to use the curriculums where it's a no plan, no prep attitude and everything's ready to go? What are you teaching that your child is interested in? Are you guys visiting the library or doing other activities or co-ops? These are all questions that don't need to be answered within your first year, but there are things and opportunities that will present itself to you so that way you can. Know that your homeschool journey doesn't have to be lonely. You don't have to be alone while you do this. There are so many incredible co-ops and other homeschooling moms that we need each other. We need to lean on each other. We need to help and support and provide an encouraging word to each other. Because having the responsibility of nurturing and teaching your child is not easy. But we can learn from each other's successes and we can learn from each other's talents to say, I love how this person taught this lesson, but here's how I'm going to teach it to my child because I know that they will love doing this with it. Please remember that you are exactly who your child needs to be. So don't give up on them, but most importantly, don't give up on yourself either. When I think back to the first year that I homeschooled my children, I'll be honest, I was a nervous wreck. I got their curriculums, I got their workbooks, and I thought, I'd sit down with them and I'd think, I bet my kid can do this in a day. I bet they can do this in a week. I bet they could learn this, no problem. And they didn't. And sometimes I would take that as a personal reflection, like, oh my goodness, my kid isn't learning how to do this. I'm a horrible teacher. Or, oh my goodness, why is my kid fighting me with the schoolwork? Maybe they don't like the curriculum. Maybe they aren't gonna, be teachable or whatever it might be. And it's not a reflection on you. Your child's behavior is by no means a reflection on your choices and on you. What you are doing with your children for those homeschooling hours and how your child reacts is one of the great blessings that God has given you to love and nurture and to figure out and to solve with His help. God's not going to give you anything that won't bring you closer to His Son. Yes, some days are hard. Yes, you're going to wonder if you can do it. But in one instance, in case, like I said, we'll take it one at a time. So the first instance, when you find yourself getting frustrated that your child isn't learning how to do a certain task right away, it's not a reflection on you. It's just that maybe that child hasn't developed that mindset yet, or hasn't developed the need or the desire to learn that skill. And that's okay. Sometimes asking your child, what do you want to learn, will open the doors to some incredible learning opportunities. One of our sons has always wanted to be a firefighter ever since I can remember. He also has a little stuffed animal otter that he's had since he was 1, and he loves this otter. Oh my goodness, you will never find him without this little otter. And so knowing that he wants to be a firefighter, knowing that he loves otters, I was able to either create worksheets or find worksheets that have firefighters or little animal otters. When he was in kindergarten, we covered community helpers, and the one career that he absolutely loved learning was firefighters. And so we went into firefighters, we went into fire safety, and he ate it all up, and he loved it, and he learned it. And when it came time to math, guess who came to join us for math? Yeah, it was the otters. Look, here's 2 otters, and they found 2 more play dates. Or here's 2 otters, and they found 2 more friends. How many otters are there total? Oh, there's 4 otters. Can I go play with them too? And it was the sweetest thing because that's what he had an interest in. So if you find yourself struggling teaching your child, if you find yourself unsure, or if you find yourself a little nervous or racked with worry that they're not learning what you need them to learn, take a pause. turn to the Lord in prayer, and then solve with Him how you can teach your child based on what they are interested in. Let's talk about those days when you're going to have those homework battles. There are some days when your child is going to probably dig his heel into the ground and say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. I mean, honestly, let's think about it for ourselves. How many times have we kind of put figuratively, our foot in the ground and said, I really don't want to do this? And when we tried to do it, were we very productive? Probably not. Having those homework battles with your children, you're going to have to pick and choose which ones. If you know your child works best in the mornings, it would be great to get a little morning work done. If you know your child works best in the afternoons, then have them do their book work in the afternoon. If you find that your child is really struggling with learning a concept, with learning a skill set, with figuring out a certain type of math problem or science, if your child is struggling and if you find yourself in constant homework battles, it's okay to step away from book work. Go with them to learn a life skill. Talk with them about where their interest lies and talk with them about what they need to know for that interest. If the weather's nice outside, just go on a nature walk. Just go outside, walk, be together, and talk. And use those opportunities as little teaching moments to teach your child. Because sometimes getting ourselves outside of the house, removing ourselves from the situation, allows our soul's room to breathe and to process all the big emotions and to process all the information that we've been learning. If your child is really struggling with focusing on their book work, invite them into the kitchen, bake cookies, get things ready for dinner that night. These are all life skills of cooking, of cleaning the house, of goodness, you can, if you really want, you can teach them all about health insurance and about taxes and paying your bills. These are all life skills that they will need to learn eventually and later in life. But you can use these teaching opportunities and these moments to help them to learn. So friend, don't give up. Homeschooling is not for the faint of heart. It is one of the hardest, most rewarding things that you will ever do. You will not regret nurturing and teaching your child. If you're thinking about pulling your kids out of the public school, if you're thinking about homeschooling, if you're looking at the pros and cons between homeschooling and public schooling, check out our other videos in our early education homeschooling playlist and other videos on my channel. You are going to find a plethora of information that you can use and rely on and lean into for your homeschooling journey. Introduction.